Welcome back to the show, everybody. This week's guest is amazing. We have Chi Amsterdam from Truffles Therapy, a retreat center offering psilocybin truffles in Amsterdam. And I had a wonderful conversation with Chi, and this was actually, I think, a couple months ago, but I've just had so many podcasts in the can, as they say in the biz, that I wasn't able to release this until today. I was thinking about releasing, 2 episodes a week, but I just don't have time to do that stuff. As everybody knows, I do this show solo, on my own. It's all me. Maybe I'm a little bit of a control freak and I'm unwilling to give up the reins to anybody else, but maybe that's a good decision. So stay tuned for that. Some changes coming to Psychedelic. I think we're going to make things a little bit more, professional, I guess. It's a scary word to me. When people call me sir, I get freaked out. Mr. Just not into it. So, I've always kept the show kind of raw and whatever, and just kind of on my own and doing it my way. But the time has come. The show has grown too much. I can't take on all of the responsibility. So if anybody that's listening, that's out there, wants to help with the show, I can pay you in mushrooms. No, but really, and just reach out to me, message me, go to my website, fill out the contact form on there, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Psychedelic_podcast on Instagram. I'm always on there. Yeah. Anyway, this was a great conversation I had with Chi, brother from another mother. I just feel like I related to him so much. I loved everything that he was saying. I think we had a great conversation. I think you guys are going to love it too. Shout out to our sponsors. We got Hemp Bombs. Go there, get CBD stuff. They got tons of crazy CBD stuff, and you can buy it anywhere. They'll ship it anywhere in the United States. It's hemp-derived CBD, and I personally like the gummies. I think the gummies are the best of their products. I love those gummies. So go check that out, hempbombs.com. Enter the code Mike15 for 15% off. Go to Synchro for all your keto, plant-based nutrition products. They got some good stuff over there, and I think some deals going on right now. But if you enter the code Psychedelic, you get 20% off. And then also Navigating Psychedelics, the comprehensive psychedelic course put on by my friends Joe and Kyle of Psychedelics Today. All the links are in the show notes. I stacked the show notes for you guys. So you got tons of links for Chi. You got tons of links for me. You got tons of links for B, E, C, D. I just wanted to rhyme. That didn't make any sense. Just bear with me. Oh, that rhymed. Finished it off. Okay. But we have all the sponsors in the show notes as well. So without further ado, let's get into this conversation with Chi Amsterdam of Truffles Therapy. What a great guy. Absolutely. Just such a pleasure, such a thrill. And now speaking with him in this great group that I have, shout out to Decriminalize California, to Ryan. Big shout out, of course, obviously, to Decriminalize Denver, the Psilocybin Initiative, and the Denver Psilocybin Initiative here. As we have decriminalized psilocybin mushrooms and are moving towards the next steps. So really excited to work with all the people that I've been coming in contact with since I've been here and making some big things happen. The NOAC Society, Veterans for Natural Rights, Psychedelic Club of Denver, Good Cinema, all these wonderful people, Innate Path. We're going to have a great episode with Raphael Lancelota from Innate Path about ketamine therapy, 5-MeO-DMT, and just all kinds of stuff because he's another great guy too. But this week's guest, he's a professional psilocybin retreat host, longtime practicing Buddhist, and just an awesome man, Chi Amsterdam. And we talk about his incredible journey, and you'll hear it from him. So take it away, Chi.
Psychedelics are illegal not because a loving government is concerned that you may jump out of a third-story window. Psychedelics are illegal because they dissolve opinion structures and culturally laid down models of behavior and information processing. They open you up to the possibility that everything you know is wrong.
We don't need new laws that control our consciousness and rigidly place it in a prison.
Cognitive liberty. In
fact that as adults, if we're not hurting anybody else, we should have the right to explore the contours of our own consciousness without any mediation or legislation on the part of somebody else.
Reject authority. Authority is a lie.
Or is it perception?
Information is power, but we have to seize the opportunity. The opportunity.
I'm actually on vacation in the Canary Islands, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. It's really, we needed to get out of the cold and get into the sun a little more. I mean, sun helps me vibrate at this. I mean, all the cells in my body just feel super happy now.
Oh my God, yeah. It's everything, right? I mean, you wonder why people of the ancient worlds worship sun gods. It's like pretty apparent how nourishing it is.
It's life, and this is the first winter in Amsterdam I've been through in 5 or 6 years, and I can see how people get depressed in cold, dreary places. Like, we all need the sun. The sun gives us vitamin D. It's like life. It helps us vibrate. Basically it helps us vibrate. Yeah.
Totally. I just recently moved to Denver, Colorado, but I used to live in New York City for the past 8 years or so, and I struggled with depression my whole life. And just being in New York in those winter months, it's gray and angry and dark, and I am out here. It's still cold, but the sun is shining, which makes a huge difference. I no longer feel that level of depression anymore. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, depression seems to be this kind of, I mean, we see it in our work just every day. Is just people left and right just depressed, and yeah, it's like this kind of, it's like everything is moving so fast with AI and technology now. And I think, I mean, me being 30 and relatively tech savvy, I feel overwhelmed with technology nowadays. It's just speeding way past me. And all these 20-year-olds are like so fast with the computer. I go, wow, like I don't know what's happening in the world anymore.
I know, it's pretty crazy. Me too. I like to consider myself like pretty on top of things, but it's like, it's just too much. It drags you away from like what's really important, is connecting with other people. I mean, thankfully, we're using technology right now to connect. I mean, I'm not physically in your presence, but it's good to see you, to hear you. And then, the stuff that we're going to talk about is really important work. So I guess we might as well start there. So Chi, how did you get started doing truffle therapy retreats in Amsterdam? What led you to this project?
Well, I would say eons of karma. It's really, I spent most of my 20s just in and out of Buddhist retreats, and that was amazing and beautiful and helped me release so much trauma and tension. And yet I still felt like something was missing. I was still trying too hard to be a meditator or something like that. And yeah, I rejected psychedelics for first 28 years of my life. And then it just started calling. And my first journey was 5 tabs of acid in San Francisco in my room. And that completely blew. Yeah, it was my first psychedelic experience. And it just, like nothing can prepare a person for psychedelics, basically.
Right, yeah.
Right? It's so beyond this world. And I was so mistaken on how powerful these things were. And since that time, it's just been mushrooms and truffles, and it's just been calling me more and more. And the more I surrendered and listened to this call, the more it just initiated me into this world. And yeah, now my life is it's just so full of blessings and abundance. And it's like the mushrooms just have accepted me into their world and to, trust me to represent them in society and to find ways to help them grow. And yeah, I just feel really honored, and it's just a privilege just to be able to serve the great kingdom and the masters.
Nice. Yeah. So you're taking orders from the cosmic eternal mushroom lobby of
oh my god,
the ambassadors.
It literally is taking orders.
Yeah.
The mushrooms show me their visions, and sometimes it's so overwhelming at how infinite the work is. Like, just to be an ambassador and to just really put my head on the chopping block and just go out there, regardless of my reputation, having people say things left and right. And it's really paradoxical, because the more I do mushrooms and truffles, the more I become like a child in a certain way. The more I'm like, oh my God, I don't know anything, and I just want to play around and have fun. And yet at the same time, the more I become like a child and open to people's traumas, the more responsibility that just the mushrooms are just saying, like, yep, ready for more. And it just pours this responsibility on. And so sometimes it's like, I have so much self-doubt, it's like, but I'm a kid, is how I feel. But yeah, then it's just being like, okay, fine, yeah, just whatever you want me to do, mushrooms, and yeah, whatever your marching orders are, I will fulfill them, is my attitude.
Yeah, I can relate to that. It's I've had several mushroom experiences that I felt like, wow, this is really like a symbiotic relationship here. This is like an intelligence that's communicating to me, and they have, I think Terrence McKenna used to say, like, they have a plan, they have an agenda, and it's like they're wanting to, reach out and connect more people and get people involved. I mean, I'd love to hear, like, from your perspective, what were those experiences like for you, feeling that mushroom energy communicating with you, and what were they saying and what were they telling you? Or sometimes it doesn't appear as in language that we can understand. But what were some of the feelings and emotions and thoughts that were associated with that?
I mean, it really is like this. Sometimes it feels like it's this alien species that just enters the body, or I'm more and more, it's like I'm entering its field and it's just like taking me. And yeah, I'm just amazed that, I started today with just a 1 gram little mushroom journey, and just the 1 gram, it's not a lot, but just the way it opens up the body helps us feel our heart, like the tension in our heart, like what's stuck in there, and the stomach, and how much tension we just hold in these places, and the shoulders. And it's like this kind of de-armoring. It's this kind of letting us know that we're safe and that we can open up and feel emotions. And yeah, just, man, the emotions, just it's literally the entire range, from the deepest rage, like black rage, and just pure sadness and so many tears, to just pure bliss and light and love. And it just comes in these waves, and just this understanding, and also laughter, just laughter like a maniac, just from this place that is like, wow, what a cosmic joke,
Yeah.
We have all this, we feel all this suffering, and it's so real. And at the same time, it just can dissolve and disappear like it was nothing. And so, and we're all fighting to survive and to thrive and be successful in this world, but none of it really matters, and we take ourselves so seriously. So it's this kind of understanding how insignificant we are, and also understanding how important the message is to share with the rest of the world, and to connect. It's really returning to nature, connecting with nature, and realizing that we are nature, and that people who want, like, basically corporations, governments, they don't really want us connected with nature, because being connected with natures means that we're content, we're peaceful, we're joyful, we have family, we love one another, and then we don't want to fight, and then we don't fight each other for money and status and power, and we all work together to consume less and to take care of the earth instead of raping and pillaging it. So yeah, it's really understanding like what we're a part of, and then just realizing how powerful the system is that we're in, and also how we just got to struggle to see through it and to get out of it and to show other people that yes, the system has you in its grips and you better wake up before the machines take you, basically.
Yeah. Wow. That was, yeah. Chi, I'm just going to take you off video because I'm noticing the Skype is doing a little skipping. Sorry, but you'll hear my voice.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, everything you said, I resonate with like so much. It's and it's so true. You know, I think that, you know, whatever has happened, you know, it's almost, you brought up the child, right? Like the child's mind, getting back to that state. And it's such a wonderful state when you get back to that, because everything just feels real and alive and in the moment and fresh and new and novel and exciting. And those are all the things that we, I think, really want to feel all the time. But this sort of illusionary world that has been, that we've helped, I guess, create as well, you know, by participating in and so forth and so on. But it's almost like, you know, when a child sees something really shiny, like a shiny object, and it gets obsessed with it. You know, I have a nephew who he's obsessed with the iPhone. It's like, oh no, you know, like, you know, because that's not good. You don't want a kid to be doing that. But it's almost like our species collectively got obsessed with this idea of like progress and innovation and like material creation. We've really loaded up the chips on the table for the ego, and we totally forgot everything else. And it's like, whoa, like we need to sort of get back to balance here, because we're overextending ourselves. And then what you're seeing is people saying, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, I'm stressed, I have suicidal thoughts, I'm struggling, we have traumas, and we're not allowed to talk about them, you know? So I'm sure you hear a lot of stuff like that, you know, running this retreat center, people coming for healing, to wake up, as you said, to wake up from the matrix, from the machine, right?
Yeah. It's really about that. I think how we have to move forward is we have to create space for conversations to happen and for everyone's voice to be heard. And for everyone to feel like they're part of something, that they can contribute to something. And, you know, like they do studies on kids and what they want to be and what they're chasing from a young age. And still the top things they chase is still fame and money. And so it's this kind of, people want to be seen and they want to feel significant. And if we only give platforms to famous people or celebrities, or, you know, people who somehow have sold their souls in a certain way, or people who are part of institutions, then ordinary people don't feel like they're being heard. And so, yeah, I mean, our work is all about creating safe spaces for people to be able to express themselves and laugh and cry. Just laughing and crying. Like, how many people do we see and hear laughing and crying in the cities? Like, not that many. Whereas most people have so many tears and so much sadness and anger welled up that it just becomes disease in their bodies. And so, I mean, I'm on one of the Canary Islands now, and to see the amount of tourists just fat and unhealthy, and it's like mostly older people, and they just have, like, they're still shopping and they still are just like chasing pleasure around. And it's really feeling this kind of sadness, like, wow, you've already reached this age of 55, 60, 65, and still there's not this type of like giving back energy. You know, it's all just still, let's just have as much pleasure on this life before we die. And it's this kind of, it's like, what are we doing as a collective? You know, what are we teaching people from a young age? And I think this new generation is going to be brought up differently because they already see how the schooling system doesn't work. Right. You know, but it's really about persuading older people with more money and power to really give back. Like, is it really, you know, you can die with money in your bank account, but isn't it more worth it to give it away while you're on this earth and to start putting that money into action and turning it into things that are actually beneficial for the next generation? Like, is it really necessary to have millions in the bank when you're really like just waiting for death? You know, so it's asking these questions. How do we engage the people with money and power and influence, and how do we make them realize that we're all in this together? And it's not us against them. It's about, let's bring it all together. Like, let's be friends, you know? Like, we can't do this fighting against each other.
Right. Yeah, I think it really takes, you know, organizations like yours, you know, I guess stuff like what I'm doing, trying to bring this conversation out more, you know, and other people in the spaces to invite those people to come sit with us, to come join us, to, you know, have an open mind, to learn a little bit about what we're going on. You know, what really hit me when you shared about the tourists walking around and shopping and being fat and all that stuff. It's like it came to my mind once when I was working I was working with my friends. We were doing social media marketing in New York, and they, you know, their idea of fun would just be kind of like to do the same thing over and over again. Go to the club, get the bottles, get the table, do this thing, you know, whatever, new shoes, new clothes, this kind of stuff. But it becomes boring after a while and repetitive. And it's like, it's kind of sad because it's like, I had this realization that it was like, oh, this is what you guys think it is. This is all you know. This is what you think is enjoyment. This is what you think is like the pinnacle of the human experience. Like, this is how the culture and how society has told us to reap our rewards. Like, they don't know any other way. So I think it's about like inviting people in, right? To say, yeah, there might be another way here. You're struggling with something. Maybe you're not feeling good deep down. You keep kind of getting these material things to fill those holes, but that's not working. Maybe there's another way, you know, come eat a truffle.
Yeah, really. It really is all about eating a truffle. And it's about having compassion for everyone in this society and the system, and realizing that it's no one's fault. You know, it's just the images we've been shown when we were children, and how rampant alcohol is. Like, we see being able to buy a bottle of alcohol as like status, you know. It's a sad way to perceive what a good life actually is.
Right.
And it's really about more people waking up and then taking action and really just pouring their talents and resources and networks and just mobilizing everybody and everything they can to move forward instead of seeking for one's own pleasure. It's about, what can we do for the whole? Like, what can I do for the whole, not what I can get from the whole. So it's, yeah, sometimes it's about education and making videos and podcasts like yours. I mean, this is all the work that's necessary, and just to keep fighting the good fight, and to know that it's an uphill battle, and just to keep going anyway, because truth is the highest. And no matter what people say, if we're speaking the truth, you know, and if we're serving that which is greater than ourselves, then it doesn't matter what people say. Like, we know what our purpose is, and we know that we're going to return to the ground one day. And before we return to the ground and turn back into dust, it's about realizing that, and to share that message with other people as well.
Yeah, I think that's such an important message. It's such a powerful message to share. You know, I think that every person has moments in their life when they can remember a time when they felt totally free, totally happy, and at peace, satisfied, content. And usually, you know, those times come when you're maybe doing something for someone to help someone else, just connecting with friends, with family, having an intimate conversation with someone, just having a good time with people that you care about. And I think that all these other things that we strive for, or that the society puts up on a pedestal that we should value, it's like dangling a carrot in front of us saying like, oh, this is what it is, keep going. But I think everybody deep down knows what it really is. And when you're with somebody like yourself and, like someone like me or people that I know, friends that I know, there is that sort of that welcoming, that compassion, that understanding to say, hey, it's okay. It's not your fault. And, there's another game we could play. We don't have to play this game. We've been playing Monopoly for the past 10,000 years. Let's play Hungry Hippos, or whatever, just like let's play a new game, and like we can definitely make that happen. So when did you start the truffle therapy? When did this come about? I know you mentioned earlier how you had these experiences that were very profound and led you to this journey. When did you actually take the step to say, okay, I'm gonna do something?
Yeah, well, I would say in last January, so about a year and a month ago, after a mushroom journey, I just realized like, wow, there has to, I want to dedicate my life to something, and I want to see if there's retreats happening. And we found one, which is Myco Meditations in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And we're like, wow, there's people doing this. And so, I had to deal with some karma. I had to make some money. So I returned back to the US, and then I moved to Amsterdam because I'm like, all right, this is it. I'm dedicating my life to something. And that was in late June. And then by late August, I had a few journeys with truffles, and yeah, it just was becoming clear that this was what my life was going to be. And the first thought was, okay, let's do ceremonies for people. And so, yeah, my partner and we just created a website, and we were brainstorming names, and Truffles Therapy came up, and the domain was available. So, we didn't really think too deeply. Like, we didn't think that it was going to turn into this movement that we're part of now. We were just going to do ceremonies. And so, yeah, that was in late August. And then after another journey, a little mushroom journey, we thought, okay, yeah, what if there's like a holiday what if we could create a holiday where we celebrate magic mushrooms? And lo and behold, 920, there's this organization called 920 Coalition. Mm-hmm. They're turning 920 into sort of the 420 of magic mushrooms. And so within a few days, we had Truffles Therapy website, the first version up, and then we had created an event on Facebook. We were just going to do this one-day event, and it turned out that 200 people came to this Magic Mushroom Day conscious celebration that we put on. And yeah, and then we just started snowballing one into the other, and yeah, and then just things started happening, and we started meeting people, and yeah, just left and right, we met with hundreds of people over the next couple months and discussing how we should move forward. And yeah, now our team is about 10 people, and yeah, we're growing quickly, and we're organizing retreats, and we're just staying humble. We've seen that as soon as our pride gets high, it's bound to be lowered again. So we're just always remembering that we're just servants, and that we're nothing special, and that we're nothing. We're not gurus. We're not shamans. We're just people who are wanting to create space for other people to heal. And yeah, so yeah, now we have group retreats, and people are bringing groups over, and influencers are wanting to come. And yeah, we have several big YouTube influencers. One who just came, he's making a video about us in the next week or so. And yeah, we've been mentioned in The Sun in the UK, and Elle Australia just wrote about us, and we've been mentioned in the Psychedelic Times, and we have writers coming left and right to our retreats. So Yeah, I don't know what's happening. It's just all the mushroom happening.
Yeah, it's we're mimicking the mycelium network in the human world. That's what I think is going on. I'm in Denver, Colorado right now, and before I got here, I connected with a guy that I had on the podcast a couple episodes back, Kevin Matthews, who's the campaign director for the initiative in Denver to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms in the city and county of Denver. And it's amazing what they're doing. Basically, they got the vote on the ballot for May, so people can come out and vote to decriminalize psilocybin mushrooms here in Denver. And that, I just think, is, once you decide and commit to a path of growth and healing and learning and serving and holding space and connecting, creating community, then you see that like all these doors start opening up as you walk down that path, and you start connecting with people, and synchronicity increases, and you're like, wow, like, okay, this is a whole world out here, and there's other people that are on this journey too, and they want to help you and you want to help them, and it can help bring these things to manifest. It's amazing. I'm on your website right now, trufflestherapy.com. I love the little graphic you have. It's adorable. It's our story, and it tells the story of you and Letty's path. And it says, I recommend people to go to the website. They have a tremendous amount of information here that you can check out, and you can learn more about the team and their stories, and there's videos and great information here. But I'm just looking at this nice graphic, and it has their path. She started in Paris, you started in New York, then there was a corporate job, then there was depression, then there was poker. Oh boy, yeah, I got into that too. Money, monastic life, meditation. So it's really nice to see that path laid out like that. I think a lot of people can probably relate to those sorts of that journey. New York, depression, poker, money.
Yeah, it's Man, there's so much to riff off right there. First, the whole thing about being on a path, it really is true. Once we commit, it's like doors just open, and the universe recognizes commitment. And it's really in the mushroom world, the mycelium world, the psychedelic world, well, maybe not the entire psychedelic world, but especially in the mushroom world, like everybody wants to support each other. No matter what, like we're willing to put our egos aside if we're really, really mushroom people. And yeah, the whole thing about, how is it going in Denver now? How do you already see people? What kind of movement do you see on the ground there?
Oh, it's amazing. There's so many people. Ever since I got here, I moved here in the beginning of January. Prior to that, I was living in Peru. Actually, I was working at an ayahuasca center in Peru with my girlfriend, and for a while we were in the Amazon jungle there. And so then we came back to the States, and we were both just kind of, I'm from New York. We actually met in Peru, so I'm from New York. She was in Boston, and she was traveling the world for a year and a half, and we were like, well, where do we want to like settle down? Like, where should we move to? Like, I don't want to go back to New York. She didn't really want to go back to Boston. And we were like, how about Denver? I was looking at Denver for a long time. And the reason why I was looking at Denver and just Colorado in general is because they seem to be doing things here. They're one of the only states, one of 22 states, I think, where citizens can directly petition the government to change laws. I think it should just be that way for all the states, but they're doing that here, and they did it with cannabis. And cannabis has become a part of the mainstream culture here. It's accepted, and they have this basic model and this framework to work off of. So this campaign organization, Decriminalize Denver, they rallied the troops, and they got people involved. They got people on the ground. They collected over 9,000 signatures to get this vote on the ballot. And I'm seeing a really good nexus of creative community and people who are passionate about healing and using psychedelics for healing, and particularly mushrooms, that everybody has a story to share. Everybody has a journey to share, and those things are really coming to the surface and really connecting people. And so it's spreading, it's growing. I think it's really going to happen. It's just about the one area that I see that could be a challenge, or that could be the main kind of focal point is to win over a conservative minded base of people. But I think that they're doing a good job of this, and other organizations are doing a good job of this by saying like, hey, veterans who have served our country are coming home and they have PTSD and they're committing suicide. I think it's something like 22 veterans a day commit suicide. More veterans have killed themselves and have died in combat. And I mean, that's just a mind fuck. It's just like,
I know,
because the things that they're doing over there, they're asked to do or that they've seen, and then to cope with that. So there's so many amazing organizations. There's the Veterans for Natural Rights. There's all these great groups here that are connecting with each other, the Denver Psychedelic Club, to help and support each other. And I think it's just about the messaging, and it's about the communication of really just telling people like, hey, this isn't like a drug where we just want to party and do crazy things. This is like really something that could be beneficial for the community and really bring a sense of wholeness and togetherness together. So I think that it's really exciting to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And really, it just takes pioneers, right? You'd think it's amazing that Denver is doing this, and you guys are really going to lead the way, and I think other states are going to follow. And it's just some people having the courage. It's really just like one person having the courage to be like, I'm going to do this regardless. I'm going to put my life on the line. I don't care what the government thinks. I don't care what the law thinks, to be like, yes, I'm going to speak the truth, And I think the more people think like this and the more people do it, the more power that people have. And it's really just, I think the whole mushroom movement is just bringing power back to the people. And I'm really happy you guys are doing that there.
Yeah, I'm great to just be here, be a part of it, and connecting with people. And I mean, like you're saying, it is this kind of global thing, right? It's like it's waking up all over the world. Though the one thing that I think the internet is so good for is that we're able to, for the first time that we know of, connect and see each other and see that there's a difference between what we're being told and what we see for ourselves, what we're being shown and what we experience for ourselves. And a lot of people around the world are having this wake up. They're having this realization like, oh, okay, like there's another way. There's people doing stuff. And like you said, it takes these pioneers. It reminds me of this great Terrence McKenna quote where he says, nature loves courage. That in nature, if you make the commitment, nature is going to respond to that, and it will remove obstacles. The way that like a tree grows around a vine, a vine will move around a tree, and the nature will adjust itself. And really, there's nothing that's impossible. That things that haven't been done before can happen if you have the will to do it. That's what we call magic, in a sense. We're all magicians. We can think something in our heads and we can have a picture of it, and then we can actually, wave a magic wand that's only mediated by time, effort, and energy. And then it comes into fruition and we're like, holy shit, this is cool.
Yeah. You're so right. It really is that vision. And we have a lot of vision boards, and we have a lot of whiteboards that we write on just left and right. And it's amazing when we write something down, it just seems like the universe responds to that and brings us exactly what we need.
Yeah.
And it's about more and more people having vision, like not being driven by the money chase, being internally motivated. What do I really want to do? What is my passion? What is my mission? What is my purpose? And really for men to become men again, right? Like it's really about, it's not about how much money you make that makes you a man. It's about how internally aligned you are with your values, right? I respect someone who's making like wood crafts and not making so much money than someone making $1 million but just selling his soul in a suit every day. It's not even a question. And yeah, it's about returning to humanity and real manhood and real womanhood. Like womanhood is about supporting each other, a community, building, having these motherly type qualities. Because I mean, what we see a lot in our retreats is people are just looking for mothers and fathers, right? They're just looking for people who care for them and love them. And it's about being able to share that love and to empty ourselves to a certain point where we don't have too many desires for ourselves. It's more about the vision we have for humanity and how we can just play a role in that big vision.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, I mean, it's reconnecting, getting back to sort of, our old sort of archaic ways of living, hunter-gatherer, community-style living, connecting with the earth, being there to support each other, bonding with each other, those sorts of things. We like to, in our, society now and what we call our modern civilization, we like to think that like, oh, this is everything. We're on this, scientific, express train for progress, and we're going to get to this ultimate thing. It's coming. It's almost there. But it's like, nah, the thing was always kind of right in front of us, and
Yeah.
You brought up some really good points there about, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. Can you explain a little bit more about that? I talk about that quite a bit on the show, and I'm very interested in learning about what, your from your perspective about what that means to you.
Mm. Well, being a man, I think, as a human, and it's about growing spiritually and working for the tribe, working for the community, and to give ourselves fully to life, and it's not about extracting, it's about giving. And really it's about who our heroes are, who do we admire, who our masters are. Is it the billionaires? Like my heroes used to be billionaires, right? And I wanted to be a billionaire in high school, and now it just seems so silly. Like, why? It's just how we're conditioned in this society. So, now my masters, I've been really lucky to be around Buddhist masters and meditation masters, people who have been spending decades in retreat, more or less. And also people who are willing to just be activists, people who are willing to speak the truth, regardless of the potential cost to their reputation or even their life. Like I'm well aware that, some of the things I say can be super controversial, and I've sort of accepted that I might get to a point where I say too much controversial things and I might just get blackmailed one day, or someone might want to just silence me with a bullet in my head or something, and it's just, as a man, I think it's questioning ourselves, like, what are we willing to stand for and what are we willing to die for? And who are we willing to link hands with and just be brothers with, and to live life and just help support each other instead of competing. And of course, like competition, yes, there might be some competition. Like, yes, especially when someone has a big vision, like the smaller people with smaller visions, they automatically don't like what they're doing. Like when we landed in Amsterdam, the backlash we got from people, the more conservative, especially the more scientific and research-oriented people, they sent us basically hate mail saying, like, you guys shouldn't be doing this, and you guys are just marketers trying to make a lot of money. And it's like, are we able to move past it, and are we able to move forward without stopping because we have faith in the vision? So yeah, it's like testing ourselves as men, challenging ourselves, getting out of our comfort zones, doing things that just we never thought was possible, like growing that 1% every day, pushing our limits that 1%, like spending one less minute on social media, like following that impulse for the technology, like one less second, and building on that. And yeah, that's, for me, that's what being a man is.
Yeah, totally. It's like, and we get these messages that that men should be a certain way, that we should be, we should want things and money and that we need status and that we need aggressive, hostile competition. We need to smash our competition and that we shouldn't cry and we shouldn't share our feelings so much. And, all this kind of bullshit that we get fed from such a young age too, really helps kind of, really helps mold and shape minds. If you really want to mold and shape somebody to be how you want them to be, just get them at a young age, because that's what they're doing. I feel the way that you feel too, and I say things often that are controversial. I'm wondering, what are some of the things that you say that are controversial that may be in your mind? Because if there's any show to say anything controversial on, it's this show for sure. Yeah. I mean, I say things like, we should abolish the government. People should resist paying their taxes to stop funding, wars overseas and all these crazy things. That we should everybody should just do what they feel is right in their heart, regardless of laws. That all of these kinds of things. We should really just live true to ourselves. What are some of the things that you're saying that maybe some people think are controversial?
Yeah, well, it's about questioning everything, especially anybody who's telling us to think anyway. Question literally every person who's trying to make money. And it's not bad to make money. Like, yeah, let's all do good things and have money pouring in. That's great. But let's question all the corporations, their motivations, right? Let's literally not listen to what any corporation says about their motives, because I don't trust the bank to do anything good, basically. Right? Let's not get fooled by their philanthropy programs or their, let's build community. Like, no, banks, their products are to put, it's debt, basically. It's to put communities in debt and then to extract as much from the community and then to move on to the next community. So don't trust anything the bank says.
They're parasites.
More or less. And more or less, don't trust anything the government says, right? I think this is, once we start doing more mushrooms and truffles and psilocybin, we start realizing, like, wow, the most healing thing is illegal around the world. Like, let's really question governmental motivations. There's a reason why mushrooms are illegal, this thing growing from the ground, and there's a reason why alcohol and tobacco is legal all over and even promoted. And it's to really see, like, machines and technology, science. Like, science as an institution, I don't really think they have human interests at heart. I think they have science's interests at heart. They have, they want to keep themselves as the authority. And my whole thing is, question authority. Like, forget authority. Listen to your fellow human beings. Like, most people nowadays, they'd rather listen to a scientist on stage than to listen to their 10 neighbors that are saying the opposite things. Like, it's probably the 10 neighbors that have your best interests at heart, more than the person on stage trying to sell you something. So, my whole thing is, let's get back to circles. Let's respect native traditions, right? Anything that tries to wipe native traditions off the face of the earth, let's not trust that. And just question the whole money system, question YouTube, question Facebook, question Google, question rich people saying certain things that make you like them, and basically really look at what AI is and look at what machines are doing and, like, really educate ourselves about the wars that are going around the world. Question the military. Question people when they say we have to support our troops, and then the next moment, when the troops get back from war, then they're nothing and they're just useless and they're just consumers for the alcohol and tobacco companies.
Right. Yeah. Think for yourself, question authority. Timothy Leary said it best, and you just elaborated on that so well. So thank you for sharing that, because that's 100% the truth right there. It's amazing, this this sort of like blind obedience to authority, but it's it's something that's been conditioned in us from a young age, and we have this proclivity to just listen to someone with a white lab coat on, or with a suit and tie on, or when Google says hey, our model is don't be evil, it's like, okay, yeah, usually it's like the opposite of what they're saying. The Patriot Act, right? It's like, all right, maybe it's the opposite of that, or something like that. But
exactly. Yeah, whenever a politician says something, think immediately the opposite, basically.
Right, yeah. The George Costanza principle, if you will, from Seinfeld, do the opposite. Yeah, and then there was something that you said earlier about, we respect these billionaires, right? I mean, God, I'm on social media a lot because I have to do stuff for the podcast and things like that. I try not to get distracted into click holes and stuff, but I see so much stuff out there that's like, wake up and hustle and grind and sacrifice and like, just get out there, make $1 billion and start a business and do this thing. And it's like, yeah, some of that is okay, I guess, if you're like aligned for the right purposes, but just making money just for the sake of making money, it's like, what is that really, doing? And who are you really serving? And I think it was
Exactly.
Jason Silva, the great Jason Silva, I think, that said, the new definition of billionaire is help 1 billion people. If you can help 1 billion people, then you're a billionaire. If
that's beautiful.
Yeah, the new definition of billionaire, millionaire, help 1 million people, help 1 billion people. That's your value. That's your contribution to the world.
Right. Yeah, and this is really beautiful. It's really shifting our perception of what it means to be a valuable or a so-called good human being, and also not trying to be good, just be ordinary. It's okay, like we're all gonna die one day. You're nothing special, and it's good to live humbly and to give at every instance and to serve and to grow spiritually. That chase for money, especially just everything in the media, everything in the music industry, everything in the entertainment industry propels this idea that money is this thing to be chased. It's like, who's making these movies? What is money? Money only has value if people think chasing it is this thing to do, right? If everybody stopped chasing money, then money would start losing its value, So it's really questioning, like, what is the system I'm in and who benefits from me chasing money? Like, yes, I can make $1 million, yes, and I will have all these nice things, yes, but the time and energy I spend chasing these things, and then I have $1 million, and then I feel inadequate because I'm still a millionaire, and billionaires have thousands and like tens of thousands more than me, so I'm nothing. So it's this kind of self-esteem issue. Like, let's find our self-esteem in something other than the number that can come and go, and that can literally lose value overnight. If a tsunami hits or if an asteroid hits the Earth, like what's the difference between $1 and $1,000? Between $1 billion and $1? There's no difference. We're all just human beings that are gonna be in this kind of crisis. So it's realizing that what's beyond all the money, what's beyond numbers, right? Let's get to infinity. Let's get to eternity, right? I see all these scientists, and it's okay. I mean, science is definitely beneficial and it can change people's minds. And also there's something beyond numbers. There's something way beyond human thought and human theory, right? Humans have only been on this planet for 200,000 years, right? Our scientific theories are just really an infant's way of looking at the universe.
Yeah, there's something beyond numbers. There's something beyond that. I had a mushroom experience. I think I had about 8 grams of mushrooms, and I had a very profound experience where I was being communicated to by the mushrooms. They were like, hey, I actually released it as a podcast. I started recording myself because I just felt like, man, I'm just, the mushrooms are actually like speaking through me right now. So I have to communicate this message. And the message was that we fear what we don't understand. And we have this skin bag bias. We think that our human meat computer and our meat suit is like the thing. This is it. Like there is no intelligence that's beyond this. And if there is, it frightens us. It scares us. Not to me, it doesn't. Not to you. Not to people like that get it, that understand this this symbiotic like harmony, this balance, this reciprocity that we can have with nature. But to the kind of the fear paradigm controllers and dominators, this is a scary thing. Oh my God! There's something beyond numbers. There's something beyond science. That's terrifying. There's this great book, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it, by Rupert Sheldrake, called The Science Delusion, or Science Set Free, as it was titled for the United States, where he basically says, like, there's more to this materialist, reductionist, physical world, and there's things that we can't quantify with just pure numbers and pure science.
Yep.
There's something else there. But what happens is you get into these institutions and these scientific studies come out and they want to make the study fit the old existing paradigm. So they tweak things. They don't, so there's this dogma that exists and it becomes this sort of religion. When in fact, those of us who've had, profound experiences know that's just another part of the machine. That's another part of the game. That's another piece of the illusion to correct.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also a way to control how people think. If people think in numbers and not infinity, then people are always thinking the bigger numbers are better or something like that. 100 is better than 1 or something like that. And the more psychedelic experiences we have, the more journeys we go on, the more we realize, wow, like everything is infinity. We're just part of infinity. We're just the manifestation of infinity and eternity right now, and how lucky we are. And it's really about gratitude, right? Is gratitude really quantifiable? No, it's this kind of feeling that just bubbles up from the deepest parts of our spirit. This kind of humility and saying, wow, I have so much in my life. I have all my limbs. I've never missed a meal. I've always had shelter. Wow, how lucky am I? I've always had more than enough clothes. And wow, like how, and also letting our self-centeredness really humble us, saying, wow, I have everything and yet I'm still complaining about stuff. So it's like waking up to that which is beyond numbers, that which is beyond fear, that which is beyond the body and the mind, and really living in that light. Jesus says something like, I am the light of the world, or only through me can you reach the Father, or something like that. And it's really seeing like, yes, maybe Jesus was saying something that had something very close to do with reality, right? Maybe he hasn't survived throughout the centuries and the millennia. Maybe he hasn't survived on a hoax, right? Maybe there is something to I am the light of the world. And what is that light? Like maybe it wasn't just, maybe it's not something to make fun of, right? Maybe it's something to realize, like, how do I get to that light? And also, I wanted to say earlier is, especially men, we need to put ourselves in situations and spaces where we can cry, right? We just need to cry all these tears out, this trauma, this being systematized, this being turned into machines. Like this is such sad stuff. And basically all men, like I see a lot of men, they have no expression. They're not free. They're like the way they move is like robotic. It's so limited, and it's this kind of psychedelics and mushrooms and dancing can just free us into being so much more full of expression and vulnerable, and just to realize that we're just soft. We're just these soft, fragile creatures. We're not these invincible machines that can just be growing forever, and that could just, we could think, that can be tinkered with in this biohacking way. Like biohacking is great, and yes, it can lead to these more so-called optimal results in this material world, but all those optimal results, they're also temporary. Like your body is still going to shrivel and die one day.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And it's that that thought, I think, that haunts a lot of people, because it's like, well, I can't go away. I can't disappear. I need to stay forever. I need to acquire as much as possible. And it's like, well, I think you're thinking about it from, the wrong way. I think that it's like, we're in a movie right now. Let's enjoy the movie. And then at the end, when your life is over, you want to say, wow, that was a great film. I'm glad that I participated in that and I enjoyed that. I'd see that again, instead of being like, I think the tendency is to just kind of, holy shit, like what, later in life, a lot of people have these realizations, but if we can have that realization earlier on, and you mentioned infinity a couple times, and like, I resonate with that so much. Another great book that I love is called Finite and Infinite Games by James P. Carse. And he talks about how there's two kinds of games in the world. One is the finite game where there's definitive winners and losers, and the other is the infinite game. And the infinite game is the game to keep the game going. That's the point of the game. The game is to keep the game going. To play the infinite game is to play the game for our species, for our reality. And I see, people like you as having an understanding of knowing that, this is the infinite game. This is the one that we play for our, for our brothers and sisters, for our humanity, for our collective. Like, we know that the things that we acquire and the things that we do are not limited, just to this lifetime. That if we can make a change, that we can make an impact, that it can impact the whole world, that it can change things for everybody in a positive way. So that's that's really super important. And then something else that you said earlier back was this kind of this respect for the ordinary, right? Like, I think that everybody's like just inundated with all these messages of like how you can be better and how you can improve and how you can lose weight and how you can have more things that make you happy and how to get a bigger house and how to get a raise and how to, make more money and how to have your money make more money for you by investing and invest with us and do this and do that. And it's like, whatever happened, and getting famous, being social media famous or being a celebrity, we look at these people and we revere them, but it's like, what about just the ordinary? Like, what about just your family? What about just spending time with your family? Have a cooked dinner with your family. Have a meal. Sit down and share. When I went traveling in Thailand and backpacking through Southeast Asia, I met with a lot of local people who were warm and invited me into their home for a nice bowl of soup. And it was like one of the best times of my life, because it's like I'm getting to sit there and share my experience and connect with other people of this human family. And those are the moments and those are the things, the ordinary, coming home, being with your family, raising your children. These things are the things that need to be upheld as like the values I think that we care about, right?
Right. Yeah. And this is really the returning to nature and, like really respecting indigenous ways. And also, I think shame, like really feeling into our shame, especially as men, not being able to, I feel it. I sometimes feel overwhelmed by sometimes I feel like I'm so small in this sea of suffering, and it's to really feel what that feels like, what it feels like to feel small and insignificant and powerless, and also to know that once we feel these things, we can feel what everybody is feeling, and to not cover things up, and and to also hold space for people's shame and guilt and vulnerability, and letting people speak their truth without trying to change them or direct them in a certain way. And it's, what it really is it's that return to the feminine receptive, that yin, that caring, that loving. What we see is everybody needs mothers. We've been really seeing in our retreats, and yeah, like everybody just needs that soft comfort of that mature woman who doesn't want anything from them, but just wants them to be happy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's this other book that I read a little while ago called Iron John, and it's all about men and how we can like come into our power and be real respectable, in touch with our feminine, these sorts of things. And in the book, Robert Bly, he mentions that we've abandoned the mother goddess. We've abandoned the idea of the god as mother, and all of the the progress that we've made in whatever the last 10,000 years or something like that has been centered in the sky father, the male god figure, the one male figure that is the benevolent dictator, so to speak. But we've totally severed our connection with the earth loving mother spirit, and that needs to come back if we want to be fully men, and if we want to be fully women, if we want to integrate ourselves wholly and completely with the energies that we embody and that we vibrate on and immerse with on a daily basis. So that's super important. And then you mentioned holding space and allowing people to open up and without judgment and not trying to change people, and this motherly care. Let's talk a little bit about the retreats and some of the things that you've experienced and some of the people that you've held space for and witnessed, their transformation coming through. What are some of the things that you see people coming to your retreats with the baggage that they have, and how that process unfolds for them?
Yeah, I mean, every person is different. For our private retreat, we get mostly wealthy men in their 30s and 40s and 50s who have money but no purpose, have some kind of depression, anxiety, and they're just looking for vision. They need vision. And a lot of them, I mean, man, their traumas are so deep, they've been going in this one direction for so long. Like they've just dedicated their life to money, success, and it just hasn't brought them happiness. And it's this kind of existential crisis that they face. And we hope that, we see that one retreat really makes a difference. And also we know that these guys, they basically just need to just take the radical step of just getting out of their day-to-day routine and spending some time in nature. Yeah, nature and psilocybin will heal about any mental illness that is in this world. And so, that's what we see. A lot of shame and a lot of just discontent and like restlessness. And for our group retreats, we see a lot of young women and also middle-aged women, of course men as well, but a lot of young people, they're just lost, right? They feel like they don't have these kind of mentors, and they're all looking for mentors. The way our society is functioning now is basically to initiate, like the initiation process into our adult world is crazy. Like these kids, they mostly go to university, they're put into debt, they're just forced to sell their souls, and it's just like it's just so sad for these young people.
It's a tragedy. Yeah.
It's like it literally is a tragedy, and so we see this, and more we want to do by donation retreats in the future. And we feel that this stuff should be free for everybody who wants to experience it, and we're doing our best to build up different operations like with medicinal mushrooms and with mushroom jewelry lines, so that we can have income coming in from these scalable businesses, so that we can put on these by donation retreats for anybody who wants to have them. Because, we want to be able to serve everybody, and we want to be able to serve, we don't want money to be a limiting. A lot of people struggling with with money, Mike, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we just really feel for these people, and we poured all our savings into this, and you know, we're sort of we're running low on funds, and now it's funny because the funds are running out faster, but they're also coming in faster than ever. So yeah, it's this kind of crazy initiation into the mushroom world, as well as they force us to give up everything and to give everything before they see, like, okay, yeah, you guys have given everything. You guys are really dedicating to yourself, to the movement. So we're really going to reward you. And so with these rewards that the psilocybin gives us, yeah, we just want to keep pouring it into. Oh, hold on one second.
Sure.
Hold on one second. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Do you hear the ring in the background?
I'm not hearing a ring now.
Okay. Okay, hold on one second. Oh gosh, where is this coming from? Oh, okay, stop. Okay, so we're just gonna X this out. Sorry about that. That was Facebook right there. That was my dad calling. My dad and I have had a very difficult relationship, and he's been here actually twice for 1 month at a time, and he had several journeys. And so yeah, my dad is an amazing he's an amazing example of how much shift can happen. I mean, he lost all his money in the real estate crash in 2008. And basically, my sister, me, and my mom, it was difficult to be with him. So he sort of felt ostracized, and he just got purely depressed, and yeah, just been dealing with like depression for 10 years. And he came here, did 2 truffle journeys, completely opened up. And yeah, like I've witnessed a miracle in my dad. So like, this is why my life is dedicated, and I don't really care about what happens to my own life, and that I'm willing to just die for this movement. Is I've seen how much shift it can happen. I've seen the darkness and I've seen the light, and you know, the light is the light, and it's always here. And my life, regardless of how long or short it is, I want to spend every moment just giving myself to the light.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. I think that when you have a direct experience yourself, and then you witness other people having direct experiences that you care about, you like your dad, your family, you know, different, you know, friends and people like that, it's a real testament to the true nature of the transformative power of this amazing piece of nature that we get to commune with. You become like an instant convert, because it's like, well, this is real. Like, this is really real. So that's amazing that you were able to bring your dad in there, and he was able to go through some profound transformational journeys. I want to talk a little bit more about the retreats and kind of like what they look like and those sorts of things. And then I have some listeners' questions that came through that I'd like to ask too. Yeah. So it's in Amsterdam, and you know, is it in the city, or where is it located? What does it look like when people show up, and how does it kind of play out, you know, day to day? Can you give a little kind of little description, I guess, of what people can expect when they attend?
Yeah. So our retreats are. Right now, we're always looking for the best retreat centers in nature, and right now we're renting out like pretty darn luxurious places in nature. And longer term, you know, we want to get our own place that we can rent longer term, because then we have more control over the setting, and we don't have to go back and forth with our equipment and everything like that. So yeah, it's like, you know, someone applies, and then we have an initial call, and then after the initial call, if we feel like it's a good fit, you know, we take care of the payment, and we take care of all the logistics. And basically, from the time someone applies, like, they're part of our lives. We open ourselves up to, you know, just any contact. Like, we're always here to just give our time and listen and answer any questions, alleviate any concerns, and then, someone arrives on the day of the retreat or a little earlier if they want. And then we have most of our retreats are from Friday to Monday. And we have the central pickup point, and then we take a shuttle out to the retreat center. And then the first day is just getting to know everybody else. And of course, this is talking about group retreats. And yeah, just relax. It's mostly about just relaxing. Like, really, our nervous system's so stressed. And the idea is just to relax without too much of a rigid schedule, and to commune with nature, to commune with other human beings without wanting anything from anybody, and also being in an environment where nobody wants anything from us. It's this kind of mutual love and respect and community. And the next day, everybody wakes up. It's breakfast, and then yin yoga, meditation. And then in the afternoon time, it's about just relaxing the body and mind so that people are ready for the journey. And then it's the group journey. And then, of course, everybody stays up late, usually just talking about the insights they had. And then the whole next day is about just integrating, making friends, community, eating. And then we also have vision boarding sessions for people of what they want to create in their life moving forward, and what kind of changes they want to make. And then, and then just community time, nature time. And the next day it's breakfast, closing circle, cleanup, and then everybody goes. And afterwards, we just open ourselves up to being contacted anytime, and people exchange contact information. So we really understand the importance of integration, and to have that open channel of communication we find is super important. Yeah. And that's for the group retreats. And for the private retreats, it's basically purely customizable to any amount of days, any amount of nights. And yeah, it's usually 2 or 3 guides with you the whole time. And yeah, we can go from 1 to 3 or 4 psilocybin journeys during the retreat. So the private retreats it's like flying first class. It's definitely not for everybody. Of course, you have to have the financial stability to be able to do it. But also, yeah, if you have the financial stability and basically healing is your number one priority, I mean, the transformations we've witnessed in our private retreats is beyond anything that words can express, basically.
Amazing. Yeah. And I think that, for myself, one of the most powerful things, I mean, I've had very powerful psychedelic experiences by myself, very powerful mushroom experiences by myself. I had been doing a lot of like heroic doses and private, with myself. And then, but getting together with people and connecting with other people, and then being vulnerable, opening up and shedding all fears, all shame, all guilt, and then connecting with others, you see that like, oh, everybody is the same. Like, we're all going through the same thing. And it's so refreshing to just be able to let that go and to just be in a space and a place where that's welcomed and accepted. And yeah, I mean, so that's amazing. I would like to attend one day. And, I have some questions here from some of my listeners who maybe would like to attend as well. And so what they say is, the first question is, are you doing this in the traditional shamanic way, or are you doing this in a clinical medical way? That's the first question.
Yeah, well, we do our best to combine the best of both worlds. I mean, I come from a Buddhist retreat background. I spent about 16 months in various monasteries and retreat centers. So in that way, it's very spiritual and Buddhist. I don't know if I would call it shamanic. Like, I've been to some shamanic ceremonies, and it's not for everybody. There's usually like a main shaman and some helpers, and it's more like directed and controlled, whereas we take more of we control the setting, but the journey is completely up to the person. Like, we lay them down on a mat or bed, and then we put eye shades on. So that's very clinical. But the music we play is like extremely spiritual, and it's Buddhist music and chanting, and like really just some of the highest vibrations, some of the most angelic, like loving, peaceful music. So that's, yeah, we take the best of everything we've ever encountered and we incorporate it into our retreats.
Sounds nice. Yeah, that sounds really nice. Next question is, what is the difference between a truffle and mushrooms? That seems. Maybe we should have answered. Maybe we should have got to that in the beginning. But I mean, good question, Ben. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a really good question. So mushrooms are actually illegal in Amsterdam and Netherlands. They banned it in 2008 after some story came out that a girl jumped off a third-story building. So, and later on, it was said that they found no traces of mushrooms in this girl. So who knows, right? Who knows what's happening?
Smells like propaganda.
There might be a hint of it, yeah. But truffles were actually left off the list of banned substances, so they're 100% legal. They're sold widely in smart shops. So truffles are the underground part of the mushroom. So the mushroom is a fruiting body, and the truffles are what the mycelium form when the conditions aren't ripe for a mushroom to grow. So if the soil isn't right, if the temperature isn't right, if the moisture isn't right, then these myceliums sort of curl into each other to form these storage energy balls full of food and water, so that when the conditions are ripe, then the truffles actually blossom into mushrooms. And because mushrooms were banned, all these mushroom growers had to find some other business models. So now they create these conditions where they stress the mycelium so that the mushrooms can't grow and that only truffles grow.
So does that affect the effect, or is it the same effect?
Absolutely not. It's basically, I mean, it both contains psilocybin and psilocin. Some people say mushrooms and truffles are different teachers, and some prefer one to the other. But it's all the same. I mean, I've had some amazing truffle journeys, and I've had equally as amazing mushroom journeys. So nowadays, I see it as basically the same thing.
Okay, great. Yeah. And so actually the next question is from Ben. The other question was from someone else. Ben says, how do you feel about Terence McKenna saying, don't be afraid to go it alone? I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I journey, I basically go alone in my room and I put eye shades on, no music, and I'm just there with me, myself, and I usually cry a lot. Basically, I just weep a lot, and sometimes I laugh too. But also at the same time, I rarely do it purely alone. I want my partner there in another room, just available if I need something, and she usually comes 2 or 3 hours in, and yeah, it's basically like part of the journey is her coming in and me saying all these things to her, that she just opens up her ears and just is there holding space. Because when it comes to like water and, I have a lot of mucus coming up when I take big journeys. And if I ever need to go to the bathroom, like if anything happens, like, or if anybody by any chance knocks on the door, like I don't want to be there alone, basically.
Right. Trip sitter, yeah.
So, yeah. But I would say for the higher doses, yes, it's definitely beneficial to have a trip sitter. And also on the lower doses, like, 1 gram, 1.5 grams, if you have experience, like it's okay to do it yourself. You're not going to run into any major issues. It just depends on your constitution. Like I would say, yeah, a heroic journey, I would always want someone near me.
Yeah, and that's usually 5 grams or more.
Yeah, and I would also say test the limits, like question the whole 5 gram thing. You can definitely have way more than 5 grams.
Yeah, that's true. You can. Maybe it's a good place to start. But yeah, I think you feeling out your constitution, like feeling out what you're capable of. If you've never done it before, maybe start with something low, or maybe if you've never done it before, just dive in and see if you could swim. Like you did with your 5 tabs in the beginning of your journey. I definitely did that too. I took, a large dose that just cracked me right into the world, and I was like, oh, okay,
Right.
cool. So it's kind of just knowing what you're capable of, what you can handle, set and setting, space, all these sorts of things are very, very important. And substance, which leads to the next question, which is what's the amount, the dosages that you guys are working with?
Oh gosh, we get asked this literally every single time. Like we weigh it out, and it really depends on you, basically. It depends on the person coming in. Like, it's not cut and dry.
Right.
Like, these are things coming out from the ground. And so, yes, of course, they're sold in these packages of 10, 15, 20, 22 grams. But also, like, somebody might not be ready for 20 grams. Some people might, like my dad's first journey was 7 grams, and he had such an amazing time, and then his next journey was 15 grams, and he said it was so powerful. Whereas for me, I'm always pushing the limits, and 30, 40, 50 grams is like
wow,
what I want to do if I want to do any kind of serious journey. Like sometimes I'll just have a few grams here and there just to feel my emotions and to maybe clear some things up. But it really depends, and it's really feeling into how ready you are. Like we just had a private client. He was a popular YouTuber. I mean, he has 500,000 subscribers, and he's making a video about us, and we're really excited about that. And he had like 44 grams, so he was ready for it because he's a mushroom person. But yeah, usually if someone is not, it also depends on how much of a support system someone has when they go back, because a journey, like a heroic journey, can, especially if we're beginners, can completely shift the way we see the world. And so if we don't have anybody to talk to that has had experience in this, it might lead to some dark states of depression. Like we might feel like we're ostracized or left out, or feel like we don't have anybody to talk to. So we're really careful with considering all the factors.
Excellent. Yeah, I agree. It is. It's, everything that we do in our lives, it's dependent upon how capable we are to handling that, the kind of music we listen to, the kind of food we eat, the, whatever alcohol we drink, whatever it is. We all have a certain, knowledge of ourselves, our bodies, how we interact with different foods, different substances, different things. So yeah, it's all about feeling that out. That's wonderful. And you mentioned this before, I think, about leaving open space for people to connect with you after the retreat. The next question is about any integration services that are offered or recommended.
Well, I mean, there's integration services popping up left and right. Like there's Wesley, who runs Psychedelic Times. He's one of the main writers. He and his partner run this coaching service called Being True to You, and that's like, they're specialized in addiction. And then MAPS also has an organization, part of them, called psychedelic.support. That's the domain name. And they have all these professionally listed, therapists and counselors. And also on our website, tripsitters.org, we list all the psychedelic communities and societies around the world. So, like we're really growing so fast that we're just basically open. Like we say, one integration call after we're available, but basically once a person has a journey with us, like we're basically always with you anytime you need help. We feel responsible for your journey in life. Like we want to be there during your ups and downs, and we want to hear how the psychedelics have changed your life. So we're always open to conversation. Of course, we're busy a lot, and we can't always be available 24/7. But as soon as there's a free moment, like, yes, we want people to contact us and tell us how they're doing. And just to have that space for people to talk is important. But yes, also we're developing more like group integration things, circles. I mean, in Amsterdam, we do group integration circles as well. And it takes so much energy to organize these things, and it takes, like, we're dealing with people's heaviest traumas, and so sometimes it's it's so much for us that we have to take a break sometimes. You know, we want to keep ourselves from feeling that they have something called a compassion fatigue. Is when we're giving a lot, it's like we can just get really like irritable because we feel like we're not taking care of ourselves. So it's really a balance. We do our best to be there for everybody, and also we understand that we might be disappointing sometimes because, you know, we're just 10 people and we're holding space for, you know, we've held space for 60 people already, and more people are coming left and right now. So we do our best, and also please be patient with us as we grow and as we really put the systems in place so that we can make things flow more smoothly for everyone.
Great. Yeah, I think that's such an important thing. You know, a lot of the times people coming from this world will go somewhere. I've seen this with people coming down to the retreat center that I was working at in Peru, and it's like, you know, I want it to be this way, and you have to do this, and, you know, just this kind of like this high level demand of perfection that we're used to in our culture, you know, where the internet went out for a second and now my life is miserable and you owe me $100 now because, you know, blah blah blah, and it's like, you know, here you are as just a group of people with this vision, with this idea, with this project, you know, trying to help other people and holding space and those sorts of things. And it's like, I think if you view it in terms of like a collaborative effort, like, hey, we're all doing this thing together, you see the human side there. I hope people got to see the human side of you, you know, here on this show, and they understand your background and where you're coming from. And it's like, you know, when you're helping people, it's not always going to be perfect, but you're going to try to do your best. And then, you know, if you can meet me halfway and try to do your best, then it's like, cool, we got a cool thing going on here. Not this kind of like cold machine-like, you know, transactional, demanding, materialist viewpoint, but this heart-centered compassion of coming together.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's beautiful, Chi. So yeah, we're about wrapping up now. Those were the listener questions. Thanks, guys, for submitting those questions before the show. I want to leave listeners with, number one, where they can go and, you know, where they can find you. And I'll put all those links in the show notes and those sorts of things. But also, if you want to just touch on something maybe that you want to share, that you want people to learn, or that you want people to know, or a message that you want to leave people with.
Yeah, just love one another. Really, I mean, this is the teaching of all the spiritual teachers, is love one another, be generous, share. You know, be with one another, hold space, volunteer, give. You know, life is not about what I am getting, it's about what I am giving. And if we can all make that shift slowly but surely, I mean, humanity has a chance. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Humanity has a chance, folks. You heard it here first from Chi of Truffles Therapy. Check them out, trufflestherapy.com. Anywhere else they should go to follow you guys?
Truffles Therapy, and also we have tripsitters.org, which is we list all the other trip sitters and retreat centers, psilocybin ones in the world. And yeah, we want to democratize this thing and make all the information available. It's all about building networks and please come visit us in Amsterdam. We look forward to meeting some of you in person.
Yeah, thanks. I hope that people do. I hope to, and you know, I think this is just a great thing, because oftentimes you can think, oh, maybe I'll just take some mushrooms or with my friends, or I'll do something, you know, by myself or something like that or whatever. But the value of getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of your environment that you're used to, and bonding and connecting with other people and going through, a professional, carefully cultivated set and setting it can have profound benefits. So I highly encourage people to check that out and to get out there and do the thing that you know that is gonna help heal you the most and open up. So thanks again, Chi, for coming on the show, talking about all this stuff. I really loved all your insights and everything that you shared, and your mission, your vision, and what you're doing here with Truffles Therapy and Trip Sitters. So congrats to you. I wish you best of success, and hope to see you on my journey in the future.
Thanks so much, Mike. We'll stay in touch. Thanks.
You got it. Thank you. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. Hope you guys like these podcasts and enjoy them. And if you do, please spread the podcast, share it, tell a neighbor, tell a coworker, tell a friend, tell a cat, tell a mouse, tell a dog, tell an ant, tell a firefly, tell whoever you tell. Share it, spread it, like it, all that good stuff. If you really love the show, you want to go a step further, you really want to help us out, leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And go to patreon.com, Patreon/Mike Brank, and patreon.com/Mike Brank. And you can donate as little as $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever you want. Help support the show that way as well. But remember, I love you guys no matter what you do. I just love that you tune in and you enjoy these podcasts. Message me. I like hearing feedback. Get in touch with me on Instagram, Psychedelic Mike Brank on Facebook as well. And thanks to our sponsors, Synchro and Hemp Bombs. If you want a discount on ketogenic and plant-based nutrition products, go to Synchro and type in the code Mycadelic at checkout to get 20% off. And they have amazing ketogenic chocolate fudge called Keto Mana that I have all the time because it has like no sugar and carbs in it. So it's great. And it's delicious. And if you want CBD, go to hempbombs.com and get 15% off all your CBD needs, I guess. And just enter the code Mike15 at checkout. But thank you once again to everybody. Thanks to Danny Barnett and Galaxia for the music, the intro and the outro. I love you all. Peace.